Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to be talking about some WWE news which I thought was just completely ridiculous. And if you're in the wrestling loop, I guess you could say, you probably know what I'm talking about. And basically that's Titus O'Neil being suspended for originally 90 days, but now it's 60 days. And if you don't know why he got suspended, well, I'll tell you. He didn't cause a big fight. He wasn't being disrespectful. He simply grabbed Vince McMahon's arm a little bit too roughly. Oh dear. Vince McMahon, the big man, the cold hearted son of a bitch that took more than just a tight, grab of the arm, has suspended Titus O'Neil for 60 days for inappropriate conduct, basically. And to me, when I heard this, I just shook my head and said, "What the fuck is wrong with this company? This company has become so petty and so sad. It's just not. I mean, the pettiness of this company is worse than the creative of this company, and that's saying something. I mean, what the fuck, man? I mean, like, are you serious? He grabbed Vince McMahon's arm, and since he grabbed it a little bit too hardly or roughly, he got suspended for 90 days originally, but since they got a whole lot of backlash from that, now it's 60 days. Which is not that. I mean, it's still bad. I mean, you don't give someone a fucking, 40-year sentence for fucking stealing from a grocery store, okay? Like, the punishment he's getting is like, what did he do to deserve this? He did nothing to deserve this. I mean, if it was such a bad deal, and like Vince McMahon was so upset about it, he should have took him into his office, spoke to him like a gentleman, like a boss, like a CEO should, and tell him, hey, I don't like you doing that. I don't want you doing that. This consider this your warning, and go on with your day. But suspending the fucking guy for originally 90 days for just grabbing your arm tightly, I mean, what the hell? Who the fuck does that in business? I mean, could you imagine if you're at your job and because you accidentally grabbed your boss maybe a little bit too roughly on the arm, oh, you're suspended for fucking 50 days. What the hell? And this is another thing that kind of came to my attention, and that is, who would want to work here? Like, I mean, I know, I get it. If you're a wrestler, your dream is to eventually get to WWE, become famous, possibly a Hall of Famer, all that good stuff. Possibly get into Hollywood for being in WWE, the whole package. But when you really think about it, what is the incentive to go to WWE? I mean, if you are in an environment where, from the beginning, if the boss doesn't like you and the boss doesn't see anything in you, by default, you are in the doghouse. It doesn't matter how good looking you are or how skilled you are. That's all irrelevant. All that matters is what does Vince want and what does the creative want versus what do we really need over what we really want. Because what they want is not what they need. What they need is talent. And at a time where they have a lackluster roster as it is, they're fucking suspending people? I mean, what the hell? I mean, with all the injuries, all the shit that's going on with people on the roster, they're trying to take more of their roster off. And I know that Titus ONeil isn't like a major player, because if he was, this would have never happened. This would have never even been a story. But still, he is a body on your roster that can contribute to your product, and you took him off of it for 60 days. 60 days with a person that could be on your roster making you money or at least filling in the spot that you need filled. But back to what I was saying, why would you want to work for WWE? If I was Titus ONeil, just like Batista said, Batista flat out told Titus ONeil to quit on Twitter. Because Batista knows. Batista knows how the fuck it is there at WWE. That's why he turned down a role for WrestleMania. He knows what the fuck they do there, and he knows that it's a crock of shit. How they run things, how they operate is just petty, sad, and favoritism to the fucking nth degree. And what this really shows is how little they care about their employees and how little regard they care for, anything really, but what they care about. If you're going to suspend somebody just from grabbing your arm, You might as well suspend them for fucking sneezing your direction. Okay, maybe. Well, no, you wouldn't suspend someone for sneezing your direction, but, what the hell? I read this story and it had me sitting there thinking, what the fuck is WWE's problem? What is their problem? Like, from all the shit they've been having, and now here comes the big thing. Now WWE's under the fire of racism. Now people are calling WWE racist, which I'm sure thrilled them to the fucking nth degree after the Hulk Hogan shit and just basically their entire fucking history. And, now people are calling WWE racist, and I don't know if WWE has released a statement. And basically, if they do release a statement, it's probably just going to be a copy and paste statement where they say, they support all cultures and ethnic values of all their fans around the world, and they incorporate that into their workers and etc. Corporate bullshit. But this is just fucking ridiculous. Where you're gonna suspend somebody from grabbing her arm too aggressively. This makes Vince McMahon look like a petty bitch. Really, it makes Vince McMahon look like a petty bitch. You're gonna suspend somebody because they grabbed your arm too hard, too roughly? You're a fucking bitch. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna stand up here and I know that Vince is playing a character when he acts like he's a cold-hearted son of a bitch, but still, Vince is not a weak guy. He fucking outbenched Mark Henry. The guy is by no means a fucking wimp or a fucking fruitcake, okay? The guy has muscle, the guy works out, and supposedly no steroids, but that's another thing. The guy is not a fucking pansy. So, for Vince McMahon, as this big buff CEO, I'm the corporate head of this company. I make the shots. I'm the big boss. I'm the cold-hearted son of a bitch. For him to turn around and say, "Oh, you're suspended for grabbing me too hard. Yeah, you're suspended for 90 days." What the fuck? That makes you look like a fucking wimpy bitch. That makes you look like a wimpy bitch that's petty. And, I don't know what Titus ONeil has possibly done behind the scenes. Couldn't be that much since the guy hasn't even been on TV that damn much. They really haven't even done shit with the guy. But, I look at this and just say, wow, what the fuck? This is just petty, sad, and just so little regard for their workers. The message this sends to their other workers is basically, it goes back to what Vince McMahon said in the Stone Cold podcast. Don't piss anyone off. They don't tell you how not to piss anyone off, but just don't piss anyone off. And apparently that was in full display in the Titus ONeil incident. Don't piss anybody off. But don't give any reason why. And that's another thing. Of why would you want to work here? Why would you want to work somewhere where all the officials, all the people that are in control of how far you can go, how successful your career can be, why would you want to work with people that tell you not to piss them off, but in the same breath doesn't tell you what pissed them off? It's just, if the fucking wind blows in their direction the wrong way, you get in the doghouse for 4 years. Like, who'd want to work under something like that? Could you imagine if you were the NFL or the NBA or the NHL and, you got a higher up upset and you were fucking in the doghouse for fucking 2 or 4 years? That's ridiculous. Compared to other companies, WWE looks so petty and sad. Suspending someone from grabbing your arm too tightly? And according to further reports, I don't know how true they are, but according to Inquisitor, Vince McMahon almost fired Titus ONeil over this incident. And that had me sitting here like, what the fuck? Like, are you serious? It's one thing you're gonna suspend the fucking guy, but he was almost on the brink of firing him, from what I've heard from other reports, and I don't know how true that is, but if the other reports are to be believed, and they're not that far-fetched to be believed, Vince McMahon almost fired the fucking guy from this incident. Nothing else but this. And that's just fucking insane to me. I just look at this and I'm like, my God, what has WWE become? They are just a bunch of petty wimp bitches. That's the only way you can put it. They're petty, they're wimpy, and they're bitches. Because how they run their company is just fucking sad and fucking just double standard. It's okay for one guy to do something, but if another guy does it, it's fucking a criminal act against the company. And this also had my attention. I believe that the suspension for their drug tests, now, don't quote me on this, But I believe, if I'm correct, that if you get suspended from their drug testing, you are suspended for 30 days. So what that means is Titus ONeil got 30 days extra for nothing more than grabbing Vince McMahon's arm. But if you get busted for a drug test, you only get 30 days versus if you grab the boss's arm, you get 60. Actually 90. Originally 90. Do you not see the problem there? You give a more harsh ramification for someone that's simply grabbing you roughly than you do someone, breaking your drug testing policy. That's a major problem right there. That's a huge ass problem, Now, had this been John Cena, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, or any of the fucking top guys, this wouldn't even be a story, I mean, let's admit, this is only because Titus ONeil is not given two shits about from creative or anyone in the higher ups. He's just a body there to use. And they don't give a shit about him. And they were trying to make an example out of him. And I don't think it has anything with him being black, because God knows, after the Hulk Hogan shit, that WWE doesn't need any more racist scrutiny under their ass. Especially when they're trying to act like they give a shit about Black History Month for February. But, yeah, I looked at this story and I said, this is a fucking petty and it's fucking sad that WWE would fucking suspend somebody for originally 90 days for just grabbing your arm tightly. I mean, get that shit out of here. That's just sad. That's sad and pitiful. That's all it really comes down to, is sad and pitiful, and it shows that they really didn't give a shit about Titus ONeil, because if they did, they would have never suspended him. I mean, I could see if Vince McMahon was so upset about this. If I was Vince McMahon, I would have brought him into my office. I would have sat down with him and formally told him, hey, I didn't like how you grabbed me out there, and I'm a business person, and you're a good worker. I just want this to be a warning. I don't want you to do that again. That's what I would have done. I would have just sat down with him, explained why I don't want you to do this again, and call it a day. And but apparently Vince had other plans, and he fucking suspended the guy and nearly fired him. And, I look at that and I just say, wow, how far has Vince McMahon went from what he used to be? But, it is what it is. And yeah, that's my opinion on Titus ONeil getting suspended. And if you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.